Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Only One Hotspur podcast. We're here to review the Sheffield United game. As you know, it was shambolic, embarrassing, but it's me and Wes today, and we're here to talk everything about it. So I'm going to come straight over to you, Wes, and what are your, thoughts on the game?
Well, where do we start? I didn't see any of the build up to the game. Didn't really even see the team until I got in. I was doing some coaching yesterday, so I didn't really see the team until we'd kicked off. Looked at the team and I was like, right, okay, it's a bit strange, but we'll roll with it. And stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, that display, it's a difficult, because actually the first half wasn't that bad. We looked a threat going forward. We looked like we could do something every time we went forward. In that first half, obviously had a lot of the ball, which we'd expect. Didn't really do too much with it, but tried to sort of hit Sheffield United on the counter attack in those transitions, and yeah, it was strange. Come that second half, I don't know what was said at half time or whatnot, but it was literally two completely different sides, two completely different performances. All three goals are avoidable, and it's just silly defensive errors once again, which has been a story not only of this whole season, but towards the end of Poch's reign as well. Errors from players, and then they lead to goals. You get punished at the top end, and in a top level football for making mistakes. We got punished yesterday. The nature of that second half is just unacceptable. I don't think anybody can live with that. I think naturally fans are furious from it, because it's unacceptable. Just forget the fact for a moment that, okay, June last year we was in a Champions League final. Just forget that aspect and then go, how can one team sort of fall as hard as we did? Just in general, that second half performance was pathetic. You've got Lamella, who comes on, and I think he's on a touch bonus from the club, because he takes about 6 touches when he needs to take 2 or 3. It's when you're trying to get back into the game, you need to move the ball quick. You don't need somebody taking loads and loads of touches to do something that he could have done fairly simply anyway. And Ndombele come on and again showed flashes of what he can do. Through pass for Kane's goal that was offside was ridiculous. I don't know how he's seen that pass. But, defensively, we look awful. And who do you blame? Where does the blame go for that? Is it the players defensively? Is it Mourinho? Because, he's supposed to be setting us up as a team and as a defensive unit to not allow that to happen. We looked so out of any ideas, any game plan. I think we've lacked some ideas a lot of the time this season anyway. But we went a goal down yesterday, and it was just, everybody's turning to each other as if to say, like, well, what do we do here? It was just awful, just awful. You got players that, I'm not going to say they weren't trying, because I think that's a bit harsh, because I think every player tries their best. Some days it just doesn't go for you. I think that's putting it quite lightly, considering yesterday's second half performance, because, did Sheffield United actually really carve us open with a De Bruyne or David Silva types through pass, and then all of a sudden, somebody's in on goal. Were any of Sheffield United's 3 goals from 25 to 30 yards out and they've gone in the top corner? No. So, it just wasn't on second half, but what it is like, I don't know if it's the kit, because the last time we wore that kit in the league, we got absolutely torn apart by Brighton and made them look like Barcelona. And yesterday we made Sheffield United look like bloody Man City. Like, I don't know if it's the kit or what, but yeah, I mean, we'll probably go into a bit more detail on it. But yeah, overall, I think first half we were okay. Like I say, we looked to fret, looked like we could do something. Second half we looked like an under-7s team that's, just gone out there to play football for the first time ever. And it looked like a team of strangers. That's probably the best way I can sum it up without losing my head, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. So, in my general thoughts, I'm not going to mention, obviously, the decision, because obviously we'll get onto that in a little bit, I think, because you haven't mentioned it. We'll leave that just for a little bit later. But I agree. First half, we looked all right. I think we moved the ball okay at times. Nothing special. It was just like, okay. But the first goal we conceded is shocking. I don't care. Like, it's shocking. The whole defence and midfield all seem to be in a line almost. And then all they needed to do is cut it back to like one of the 5 players who are on the edge of the box. All they've got to do is get a clean hit on it and it's a goal. Because to be fair, Lloris was probably a bit unsighted anyway, because there's so many players ahead of him. And I don't get that. The midfielders were all pretty much in line with the defenders. They need to be closer, and it's just basic. It's the most basic stuff. I was fuming with that. And then, I'll move on from the next little part. I think obviously 82 seconds later. But it's just, I didn't see us opening them up too much. We had moments where we could have in the first half, like for example, where Sissoko ran with the ball for pretty much the whole pitch, and then he's done the most basic and shocking pass I've seen. Like, he had Son out wide, like outside, and he could have, if he was good enough, he could have probably played a ball through to Kane. He had Bergwijn next to him. He's tried to pass it to Bergwijn, but he can't even do that. And while I'm there, I don't care what people say. I got in a bit of a couple of arguments last night with people on the Facebook group. Sissoko is not good enough. Sissoko is not good enough. People say, oh, he's an engine in the midfield. Okay, he can run with the ball. But he doesn't have the basic element of a midfielder. He cannot control the ball and he cannot pass the ball. If you cannot do them 2 things, you shouldn't be a footballer, let alone a midfielder. And I was thinking this earlier, just a quick question for you. What top 6 side does Sissoko get into and start for? What other top 6 side does Sissoko get into and start for? None at all. I would even expand that, because I don't think he gets into any top half team in the Premier League. Exactly. I agree with that.
I think he would probably one of the best teams that he would actually suit is probably Palace.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Other than that, we spent 30 million on him, and when we signed him, I was a bit like, really? Like, I wasn't best pleased when we bought him, because, I didn't actually, he didn't pull up any trees at Newcastle. He wasn't one of their best players in that season before they went down. Yet we spent 30 million on him. I couldn't believe it. Remember watching Sissoko in the Champions League against Bayer Leverkusen at Wembley, and how he bagged 90 minutes that night. It still baffles me to this day, because he could not trap a bag of cement that day. And I even turned to my dad, like, after Pochettino had made 3 changes, and I'd gone, how was Sissoko bagged 90 minutes here? Because he was awful. The only reason why he's probably, a lot of people are saying he's come good now is probably because he couldn't get any worse. If he'd got any worse, then we wouldn't have even got anything for him if we tried to sell him. He never looks in control of the ball when he's driving from midfield. Everybody goes on about, as you mentioned, his engine and his drive from midfield. Listen, we've gone from Moussa Dembele, the greatest of all time, to Moussa Sissoko. That is literally like you go from an iPhone, top spec iPhone, to a Nokia brick phone. Yeah. And that's putting it lightly. Yeah. So how we've managed to do that as a football club, I don't know. But yeah, Sissoko is just not good enough. He's not a destroyer. He's not a ball-winning midfielder. He's not a playmaker. He's just there. And I think the reason he's just there at the minute is because there's not anybody about within the market that we can go and replace him with or even do better than at this moment in time. So we've had to pretty much go, well, he's here. Let's try and work something out with him. I did not understand the fact he got a new contract whatsoever because, all right, he had a bit of an upturn in form, but as I mentioned, he couldn't get any worse. Like, everybody was going mental when he scored. And yes, it was a great moment because he finally scored. But other than, he's bagged a handful of goals since he's come to Tottenham. I'd spoken to a couple of mates of mine who are big Newcastle fans. And I'm like, well, where does he play? Does he play on the right? Does he play in the middle? Does he play as a number 10 off the front? And they said, look, you need to play. And I think eventually we worked out that he's a central midfield player, But, at times we were playing him out on the right. We've played him at wing back, which everybody laughed at because it was just a joke, really. I think with Sissoko, he would be, I've said it for the past few seasons, he's the first player I'd hook. I think we played a diamond a lot of the time under Pochettino, and that seemed to get the best out of him because he could shift out wide, but then also come in and be quite narrow. But yeah, Sissoko can't pass water, let alone a football. I saw somebody on Twitter saying that he controls games on his own, can't control a football. He's 30 years of age, regardless of the money that he's on. All right, he's a professional footballer at 30 years of age. He can't control a football properly. I even had to say this to somebody yesterday to try and get it in their heads that he's not good enough. He is nowhere near the level that we need to push on. He is mid-table Premier League player. Like I say, would probably fit Palace quite well. But, he's just nowhere near what the level that we need. And I don't get these fans that try and... Listen, I know as a fan, you want to try and stick up for your team. And you try and stick up for other players as often and as much as possible. Yeah, but sometimes you just have to realise that they are not good enough. They are not good enough. Sissoko is not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and where we want to be. Where we want to be is back, because we've gone backwards massively, but we want to be back challenging not only for the top four, but, rewind a couple of years, we were challenging for the league. Massive difference. Sissoko is in our team. We're not going to be very successful going forwards at all, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I agree. Obviously, not a very quick answer for a quick question, but
sorry, I had to.
No, I know. Obviously, we both can't. That's the thing. I agree with you on the aspect of obviously we support pretty much every player in the team, and I've never really felt like this about players before. I felt about it with Adebayor before. Apart from that, not really many players. But in this team, there's actually two players who I want out. He didn't have his worst game yesterday either in Aurier, but he still weren't good. Like I don't care what people say. But it still wasn't his worst game. That's the thing. So he won't get the fingers pointed at him.
Aurier could not deliver a letter, let alone a decent cross.
That's the thing. That cross and he's put it out for a goal kick. I'm not being funny. I could do better. I'm not even saying that to be funny. I could put in a better cross. I'm
I've
not
seen you
saying that to
play
be
as well, by the
difficult.
way.
I'm not, but the thing is, I'm not even trying to be difficult. Like, this guy is pathetic as well. Like, he's a fullback, but say if he goes forward, okay, which is obviously he gets told to do, so that's fair enough. But you should be seeing him sprinting back and working to get back. He just walks. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the club. He doesn't care. He's just like, oh, I'll pick up a paycheck at the end of the week. That's it, done. But going back to Sissoko as well, because I've got a few more points on him. Like yesterday, so people were saying he's he's one of our. I saw someone say he's one of our best players in the past 2 years. I want to know what that guy's been on because I might want some of it because I'm not sure how much more I can take of watching it. I'd much rather think that. But so he's one of our best players in the past 2 years. Let's just pick one little part of that game yesterday where he's on the halfway line. He tries to control the ball, miscontrols it, obviously. So he thinks, oh, I'll try and pass it back to Hugo. And he boots it out for a corner when he's on the halfway line.
Yeah, that frustrated me yesterday.
Name me another player who would do that in the Premier League. None. Because everyone else has got a brain. And I'm not being funny. If you're miscontrolling it, it goes out for a throw, we wouldn't talk about it. We'd be like, okay, he's miscontrolled, it's gone out for a throw. But he's tried to pass it back to Hugo Lloris. You know, as a midfielder, you should have the passing ability to do that. And he's booted it out for a bloody corner. Like, yeah. But let's not just hang on them couple of players because obviously they're not good enough. But something else what really annoyed me was, and I said this to my brother, a few times yesterday, obviously we had the three behind Kane was obviously Son, Bergwijn and Moura. And obviously they were switching and changing where they were playing. But a lot of the time yesterday, they were far too narrow and close together.
That's what I think personally. That's listen. I think everybody's wanted to see those three in behind Kane, but they're all wingers, so naturally they're all going to want to be. They're all going to want to occupy the same space.
But that's the thing. You say they're wingers, but then all three of them were playing as number 10s at one point. Like all three were literally in a pocket there, and then Kane has had to go out wide. So we've got no focal point. They've got four players in a pretty much almost a line. So you've got no one, and I'm like, how are we meant to then go forward and cause Sheffield United problems when we've got four players in a pretty much a line, and our main focal point, our striker, one who gets goals, is playing left mid. Like, it's not good enough. You've got three players who can play out wide. So I'm expecting to see at least one of them out wide, for crying out loud. But instead it was Davis and Aurier getting up. And I'm like, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand that. Because all three of them players are good enough and have got understanding. Okay, look, it's a bit compact in here. I'll move out wide. And Son has not been good since the restart. Like, he's a brilliant player, but he hasn't offered us nothing since the restart, I don't think. Moura, his decision making isn't the best. Like, obviously we all love him, but I think if we actually watch him in games, his decision making isn't the best at times. I don't think he can run at play as well, he can score goals, but I think his passing and decision making, that aspect of his game isn't the best, I think it's fair to say.
Joe, can I so you mentioned there about Lucas Moura scoring goals. When was the last time he scored for Tottenham?
I can't remember. But
I'll tell you, it's December.
Exactly.
December.
But do you see my point? I think like last season, wasn't it? Or maybe I think he got 1 assist. And that's not good enough for a forward attacking player who's played as many games and as many minutes as he has. He should be getting more assists. He gets in the positions to, but his decision making isn't there. Like, I love the guy. I love the guy for what he's done, and he's pure Spurs as well, which I love. But I always remember this. This is going back ages ago, but probably to one of his last goals he scored, which was against Middlesbrough. It was at the Riverside, but he's picked up the ball a few times in a fantastic area, and we can break, and he holds on to the ball for too long. He looks down too much. He doesn't get his head up and look. And there's a couple of moments where Dele's tried to make a run through, and then by the time Lucas Moura's looked up. Dele Alli's made a run, but now he's offside. So now he's having to come back, and then the move's dead. And that's not obviously just that game. That happens too much. And I obviously don't want to sound like I'm just trying to dig out all these plays, but I do think his decision making isn't the best. And I don't think he should be in a starting team. I think it should be Dele, Bergwijn, and Son. I think with Dele, you've got that player who tries to create that bit of magic, who tries the flicks and everything, and that's what we at Spurs we love. You know what I mean? Like that's what we love. And I saw someone yesterday saying, "Oh yeah, well, Dele Alli's rubbish anyway. I wouldn't mind if we shipped him out." And I'm like, it just does my head in. Like, but yet they, yeah, as you can tell, I'm a bit frustrated, a bit.
Yeah, I think Lucas's last league goal. Sorry, not his last actual goal, but his last league goal was December. Like, come on, it's not good enough. I think he's living off Ajax away. I mean, it's probably given us all as fans the greatest moment of our lives, but you know, it's over a year ago now. Like, come on, it's like time to step up and you know, be counted on when we need you. You know, I agree that Son's not been at it at all since the restart. You know, I think there's times when he plays Sonny, he doesn't quite know what to do, and I think that he always has sort of like 2 or 3 things that he can do on the ball, but never actually picks one when he gets it. So, you know, like as a winger, surely like when you get the ball, you should have a rough idea of what you're going to do. But Sonny has like, right, I could go left, I can go right, I can pass, or I can maybe shoot. And he has all these things going like in his head at once. And actually, I just half the time I don't think he can make his mind up quick enough, and it's just not good enough. I mean, yesterday as well, like we're chasing the game 2-0 down, and there's no movement. Like everybody wants the ball to feet. I don't get it. Like make some runs in behind and try and get in behind Sheffield United's back line. You know, I think if it's me, I'm making a lot of changes for Monday's game against Everton. 100%. I think the players need a wake up call. I think the squad needs a wake up call to go, look, that's unacceptable, and here's my reaction to that being unacceptable. I think you see it a lot with managers. You know, they come off the back of a damaging defeat, like you know the game yesterday was. The reaction is right, bang, have 6, 7, 8 changes, and stuff like that. I think that's what we need. I think there's players that are too comfortable. Jose's got a lot of trust in these players, but they're letting him down. But then, you know, I made an interesting point yesterday that with Mourinho, it's like for me, Nigel Pearson at Watford has done more in his time at Watford than Mourinho has done in his time at Tottenham. And actually, Nigel Pearson, for me, has done a better job at Watford than Mourinho's done at Tottenham. And everybody's going to come at me and go, are you serious? Are you for real? Please, please, please let me talk to you about this. Because Nigel Pearson actually came in and he was left with 2 managers' worth of players. So he come in after Javi Gracia and Quique Sanchez-Flores, right? He's also had the January transfer window, the same as Mourinho, right? But what Nigel Pearson has done is got everybody on side straight away, very, very quickly. Their dressing room is full of different nationalities as well. So that's the similarity because our dressing room has got quite a few different nationalities in it as well. And actually, he's started to get a tune out of Watford and has pulled them out of the bottom 3. The only difference with us is we were mid-table and we're trying to push, you know, and get into Europe, not even the top 4, just Europe. And that's, you know, that would have been classed as a successful season. But, you know, when Nigel Pearson came in at Watford, they were dead and buried. We weren't a lost cause like Watford. And for me, he's had much more of an impact. Like I say, he's got them playing a style that suits everybody. and they know what they're doing. We have got a style of play that does not suit us at all, and the players look like out on the pitch, majority of the time, they do not know what they are doing. And people will go, well, that's blaming Levy and everything like that. I'm sorry, but Daniel Levy, that's not down to him. That's down to Mourinho and his coaching staff. We all know Levy is probably underinvested in the playing squad over the last few years. All right, but look, there's got to be some blame at Mourinho, because it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. He's lost 11 games as Tottenham manager. 11. I don't even think he lost that at Chelsea. In his time at Chelsea, in one of his spells, I don't think he lost 11 games there or something crazy like that. Mourinho was supposed to come in and, everybody goes on about his reputation as being quite a defensively sound coach. Mate, our defence still looks all over the place. In fact, it looks even worse than when Pochettino was there. So, yeah, for me, like I say, Nigel Pearson's done a better job at Watford and actually giving them a chance of staying up. Whereas Jose, he's come in, little bit of a bounce, new manager bounce like you usually get. But the football, geez, watching it yesterday, so boring. Even watching it against West Ham and we won was boring. The level of performance that we played against United, I mean, I know there's going to be a Jose way and there was going to be different, but the drastic nature of it is ridiculous. Like, we parked everything against United, buses, taxis, limos, you name it, everything was parked, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that night. West Ham, the football's so boring. I feel like I'm watching the second coming of AVB's Tottenham. But the only difference is we've come off the back of, one of the greatest achievements the club's had in a long time in just reaching a Champions League final. Never mind winning it, just reaching the final. So, yeah, it's not good enough. Big shades of the Brighton away performance, which was pathetic. And the players down tools, in my opinion, for Pochettino that day. Looked like the players are down tools for Mourinho. And even my dad turned around at one point yesterday and said, Poch got sacked for less than this. Honest, like the two, all three goals, it's like, I didn't realise Madame Tussauds had rocked up in our penalty area when we're trying to defend. Absolute statues.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, that second goal we conceded, I think, obviously, I've spoken about the first one, but that second one as well was an absolute joke. Literally, they've just stood there. Lise Mousset's obviously on the side because he's in line with the ball. It's literally just played it about 5 yards. Lise Mousset's like, oh, cheers. I'm like, and the two centre-backs are just standing there. Like, what on earth is that? And, that is just so much. I think that must be the easiest goal scored in the Premier League this season. I do not care. Maybe apart from a goalkeeper mistake where he's literally given it to the striker or something. But a defensive, that is shocking. And then for the third goal, I don't know what Sanchez is thinking either. He should be getting in front of McBurney, but he's stood behind him. So the ball comes in and McBurney's only got it's easy. It's easy stuff. And you just look at it and it angers me because, as you said, all three goals are preventable. Easy to defend against. My under 11s can defend against that. It's pathetic. You look at I thought, I knew McBurney could be an issue, but we didn't even have to make him work. Do you know what I mean? He didn't even have to work. It was the easiest stuff. And it just, I don't get it because obviously Mourinho is meant to be a good defensive coach. If the defenders are that bad that we're going to need to ship them all out and get a whole new bunch in because it looks like, I just don't get what's going on at the minute. You look at it and there's just no structure in the team. As I said for the first goal, the midfielders should know that they shouldn't be going that deep. It's just basic because then that way the players coming in have got all the space to run into. They've got the momentum, and it's just the basics. It just seems like yesterday we didn't have any knowledge of any basics. We just turned up to give away the 3 points.
I
And
mean, for me, Joe,
I just don't get it.
that second goal yesterday, I know a lot of people are slating Eric Dyer for it, but if you actually watch it, and I actually said this to somebody yesterday, because they put it up on social media, and they actually had the video evidence for it, but Mousse runs off Ben Davis. Mousse's standing next to Ben Davis, and he just steps away from him and taps it in, and I'm like, Davis, hello, like, he's your man, like, track him, track
Yeah,
your
look,
man, and it doesn't go in. And then the third one, I don't know, as you said, I don't know what Sanchez is thinking, but as any defender, like, if I'm coaching defending, right, I'm saying to my players, do everything you can to stop the ball going in the goal, right? If I'm getting into specifics from centre half, right, it's in that sort of area. It's like, right, do not let your man get across you. Stay with him and block the shot. That's all Sanchez had to do, and he's let McBurney just run off him, and it's a simple tap in. And at that point, I was gone. I mean, my head wasn't on after the second one anyway, but it certainly fell off and started rolling somewhere. I don't know where. So if anyone's found it, like, please let me know, and so I can get it back. But yeah, it was just heroic, like horrific. Not even heroic, sorry, horrific defending
that's
yesterday.
a, that's the thing.
Nobody wanted to put their body on the line to stop a goal. No, there's no leaders in this team. There's no leaders in that back line. There's no leaders in the team yesterday. It was just an acceptance that was what we were serving up. I haven't seen any, usually after a bad defeat, you get some players that come out and, apologise and go, and then
Yeah,
have a little bit of a positive spin. I've seen nothing, and that's what stinks, in my opinion. That is horrendous. Not one of them has had the bottle to turn round and apologise for serving up that level of dross yesterday, and letting every single Tottenham fan that watched the game go sit and go through that second half performance, especially.
that's the thing. I agree with that, and it's just almost like they look like they felt sorry for themselves. They're getting that much money and performing like that. It's like it almost looks like, oh, there's no fans in the ground. Oh, they don't, it doesn't matter. That is pathetic. That's embarrassing. That performance is embarrassing. I don't care. Like I, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just pure embarrassment. It's I could have easily stopped watching the game after the third goal went in. I actually did, like, well, when the third goal went in, I had a little rampage, went upstairs for literally about 30 seconds, had a bit of a rant to my brother, then went back down and watched it, because that's what you do. But it is pathetic. Like, say, like, if you were in that ground, like, there would have been a lot of empty seats, in the Spurs end.
That was the closest. That performance yesterday was the closest I've seen to Brighton away this season, and Brighton away was pathetic. It was pathetic. There was nothing that day. We turned up, and as I said earlier, we made Brighton look like Barcelona. We've made Aaron Connolly look like a world-class centre forward, and he's not even a full international centre forward, by the way.
And by the way, he's done nothing else since that game.
Right. So, that was the closest, and that was the worst Tottenham performance I've ever seen, ever in my life, right? And yeah, we've sat through some, I mean, myself personally, I've sat through some utter dross, yeah? The George Graham days, my goodness, they were bad, right? We didn't even sing the guy's name. It was the guy in the suit or the guy in the coats, blue and white army. We hated George Graham. And I've seen somebody today on social media saying that there's parallels with us appointing George Graham and us appointing Mourinho. You could look into those details as well. But like I said, we've sat through the AVB boring, slow, progressive football. This feels like we've got it coming again. But, we've got to it. But the thing was, we had a reset after AVB and Sherwood. We had the reset when Pochettino came in, and then he had his first season where we sort of, gave him we gave him a year's grace. But, Pochettino came in done a decent job at Southampton, but by and large, relatively unproven as a manager. Okay, he did well at Espanyol, and like I say, he did wonderful things at Southampton, but by and large, unproven, right? We've now got a manager who has won the lot, who is a serial winner, and he's not getting a tune out of the players. God help him getting a tune out of the board, for goodness sake, because we need some investment in the summer. 100%. I know we're in sort of summertime now, but when the transfer window's open, what are we doing? Why are we not going out and actively trying to get deals done? Bayern Munich have bought Leroy Sané. Chelsea have acted quickly. They've got Ziyech and Werner. What are we standing still again? We've stood still before, and look, and this is unfortunately is a byproduct of us standing still in the transfer market, because now,
don't forget, obviously Mounier has gone Dortmund as well, which is a player who we could have got to fill in a hole as well on a free. If we were smart and quick with that, we could have got him as well.
Yeah, we've had 6 months probably to get that deal done, because he could have spoke to clubs from January. So we've had 6-7 months to get that done. Mourinho was a fan. Levy wasn't. Levy's got the final say, it looks like, on transfers. And that's that. Seeing reports today that Levy wants Aarons, but Mourinho's not keen because Aarons is small for a fullback. Right, okay, so if we end up doing that deal, it's, by the sounds of it, we've got a player at the club that the manager's not a fan of or isn't overly keen on. So that's not a good start. That's not a good start at all. I think every fan would love Max Aarons at the club. Do not get me wrong. I'm one of his biggest fans as well. But, at the same time, the manager's got to want him. And if the manager doesn't want him, then what's the point? We've had that previously. The Magnificent Seven that all came in with the Bale money. Apparently, AVB didn't even want any of them. AVB went to the board and wanted 4 players. He wanted Moutinho, he wanted Garay, he wanted David Villa as 3 players that he wanted. Nowhere near getting any of them at all. So I don't know it. Like I say, I don't know if this is now the time where, people. I know Levy divides opinion anyway, but a lot of perhaps Levy people start to turn on him because, it looks like we could be standing still again. Look, I wasn't Jose's biggest fan of him coming in, because for me he goes against a lot of what we've done as a football club, and everything else. But listen, when we win, okay, we get a nice feeling, but we don't seem to be winning with any sort of style anymore. We've not really, all right, we tore Burnley apart 5-0, but if anybody watched that game, they'll know that Burnley put their kit on, and that was that. We haven't dismantled a team. We haven't. Everybody goes on about the last season at White Hart Lane, and yes, it was a fabulous season. Probably the point that we peaked as a football club and as a football team. But that feeling of rocking up, 12:30 kickoff, 4-0 win, get the job done, see you later, it's gone. 100% gone. We don't even look enjoyable to watch anymore, as I keep saying. We look boring. We look slow. The team has aged dramatically. It looks like Jose's aged in 8 months being there, or however long he's been there. I think I'm aging by the, I think all the fans are just fed up now.
I think,
Joe, the worst bit is it's Derby Day next Sunday. That's the worst bit. It's Derby Day next Sunday.
But look, obviously, Jose Mourinho has not proved anything yet. I do still think we need to give him time. I think there's people jumping, he needs to get out already. I don't agree with that. Yes, I admit it's not enjoyable to watch at the minute. But I personally think there's a lot of players in there who he doesn't want, and he's sort of having to stick by a little bit. And I think I don't think this is the way he wants to play overall, but I think it's the way he's having to play at the minute. I don't fully know why, but that's what I believe. I think he sees the future in like that 4-3-3, what we've spoken about before. But we need that ball-winning midfielder, which we do not have in the club. So I think that is the most important signing. What we need to make is a ball-winning midfielder. Whether or not we do, we don't know. It's Tottenham. We'll probably end up going and signing 3 wingers, and you know what I mean. And look, obviously, I am as frustrated as anyone else at the minute. I'm sick of watching us. I don't actually. I'm not excited to see us play on Monday. I'm not like, yeah, oh yeah, it's Tottenham Day on Monday. I'm not, oh, for God's sake, got to watch that load of rubbish again. That is how I'm feeling. But I still think obviously, give him the summer transfer window. If he gets any slight control, and see what happens. I still believe that. I think people are saying, oh yeah, get out and all that. I think it's a bit of rubbish. You do need to give him a bit more time. Because, and obviously I know people, he does sometimes play in a very boring way. But as I said, I don't think he wants to do that with us all the time. I think he's had to in some games because he doesn't believe in some of the players who are in that starting 11. And I think he wants to change that. Obviously, we will see about that. And obviously, only the summer transfer window and the start of next season we'll be able to tell.
So, Joe, let me put this to you, right? Under Pochettino, a lot of the time in big games, okay, granted, we didn't win many, but you could say at least we had a bit of a go. Is that fair?
Okay.
Yeah. Under Mourinho, we have parked, like I say, we've parked double-decker buses, single-tier buses, trains, limousines, taxis, bikes, cars. We've parked everything. And that's been a massive shift from us. We've gone from going at teams, especially at home, we've gone from going at teams to just allowing them to, we've almost given them too much respect and gone, do you know what? We're the underdogs. We're going to play like underdogs. We're going to let you have pretty much everything that you want. And we're going to try and stay in the game for as long as possible and try and nick something, right? City at home this season, granted we beat them 2-0, but at 1-0, you had City fans singing Park the Bus. Tottenham Hotspur playing football Mourinho's way.
Yeah, okay. But as I was saying, I don't think we've got the defensive players to be able to go at teams like that. Say if we would have gone at City that day and they would have got us on a counter-attack, Jesus Christ. Like, we don't have that ball-winning midfielder, the one who can break up the play, the one who can stop this. We've got a right-back who's not a right-back, for crying out loud. Like, I don't care what people say. It's not a good enough setup at the minute. There's so many things that need changing.
But then even when we parked the bus in that City game and they came forward, they still looked like they were going to score anyway. So they might as well look like they're going to score, but with us going at them a little bit and giving them a little something.
I don't agree with that at the minute. I think he's tried to do what he can, and yeah, it's frustrating at times. Don't get me wrong, and it is not nice to watch. And obviously, sometimes it has not worked. I get that, okay, but it wasn't working under Pochettino for the last, pretty much a year and a half, or since last January, since Dembele left. Yeah, obviously we got to the final of the Champions League, but our league form was awful. Okay, and I think, say if we wouldn't have got to that Champions League final, Poch would have been gone long before that. But it just wasn't happening. It hasn't happened for ages, and it's depressing to watch. Obviously, we don't want to be watching our team play in that way, but we need the right players to play in that way. That is my belief. As I said, that holding midfielder, that is the most important business we can do this summer. So that way we don't have players like Sissoko in the middle. Because if he's in that starting lineup come the start of next season, I don't know what I'll say. I don't know what I'll say because I'll be sick of it. Same with Aurier as well. It needs a complete... It's just not good enough. And as you said, there's no leaders. There's no one to take control in the team, really. Especially in that defensive area. is someone needs to either grow some balls in the team and be a leader and demand stuff out of the players. I think we've seen glimpses of it from Dyer at times, but still not enough. Like in the game yesterday, you want to see it more. Like we saw it in a little bit against West Ham, but we still need to see more of it. There's potential there with him, but if not, we need to go out and sign someone with leadership qualities. I don't care. Obviously, Thiago Silva's 35 or whatever. I'd take him just because he's a leader. Or Godin. I don't care. Just someone who's going to come in and demand the very best out of their teammates. Because I don't see that enough. Say if we concede a crap goal, it's just all their heads drop. Or, I know what you never see anyone outing someone else. You might see their arms thrown up or something like that. But them goals, they should be outing each other on the pitch. Right, you sort that out. That does not happen again. We didn't see any of it. There's none of it. They need to either grow balls or we need to go out and sign players who have got a bit more fight and a bit more leadership in them. Because there's not enough of that in this squad. And I think that's fair to say. And if anyone wants to argue that case with me, I'll give you my details and we can have a very fierce debate on it, because it is not good enough. In that team, the only person who maybe got leadership qualities is Harry Kane at times. But either he's injured, and plus he's too far up the pitch, so he might not be able to see certain things. And plus you need a leader in that defensive area, whether that's a centre back, holding midfielder. I think Hugo might say a few things in the dressing room or whatever, but you need to see it on the pitch a bit more. I think that's fair to say. You can do it all behind the scenes for whatever you want, but when you're on the pitch, if someone makes a mistake or doesn't do their job, they need to be outed there and then. I don't care. And I think that it's all just a bit too nice at Tottenham at times. It's all a bit, you made a mistake. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. No, you should worry. That's your job. You get paid mega money to do that, and it's pathetic. Like that performance yesterday, that defensive performance is pathetic. No other excuses or whatever. No leaders. No one owning up responsibility. No one telling the players that's not good enough. That's not good enough. They need to. It's just not good enough.
And we're all going to see it on Amazon as well. Brilliant. Cheers.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, obviously there was another massive talking point yesterday. I'll let you say a few things on it first, because I think you know what's coming from me, because obviously you had a little bit of a preview of that. And obviously I've said a few bits before, but yeah. So obviously on that goal, what was not, just some stupid reason, was not allowed to be given. You can say first, and then yeah.
VAR. Just when you think it couldn't get any more ridiculous, it just outdoes itself. Look, I mean, for even Jamie Redknapp, right, to say it's a ridiculous decision and actually back us for once.
But he actually said it's the worst decision he's ever seen.
Yeah, so
that says a lot.
But when Jamie Redknapp is sticking up for Tottenham, you know it's bad, because that guy hates us with a passion. Despite the fact that he did very, very well at us off the pitch. Didn't really see too much of him on the pitch because he was always bloody injured. And probably used to get a nice touch when his dad was there. I think he's still bitter at the fact we sacked him. But VAR, I mean, said it last time. Got to go. Referee has to go to the pitch side monitor for me. If he goes to the pitch side monitor, then he can apply what he thinks is the letter of the law. But the on-pitch referee, has in his power, or in his armory, if you like, the state of the game, which is crucial, because that is something that any referee in any hub, any office, any truck does not have. okay, the letter of the actual law has been applied in the fact that it struck Lucas's arm. All right, but he was fouled by 3 Sheffield United players. Okay, the referee played the advantage. We went and scored. So you couldn't. The referee, I don't think, could have pulled it back for the foul like a lot of fans were suggesting, because the goal overrides the foul, if that makes sense. It's just a unbelievable kind of decision. Listen, they've checked the goal and they've seen a possible handball. Like I say, if the referee goes to the pitch side monitor, because I don't think actually the referee saw how Lucas fell. So if he goes to the pitch side monitor, looks at those VAR pictures, then he can go, well, actually, all right, he's been fouled, but he's actually put his arm out to stop him falling flat on his head, or breaking his shoulder, or dislocating his shoulder or something. So I think had that happened, the goal might have stood. I know Chrissy Wilder was saying that Sheffield United had got away with one, and they've got away with one against West Ham as well for something fairly similar, because there was one that Declan Rice couldn't have avoided. I think I mentioned that on our West Ham review as well. But yeah, for me, like I say, if the referee, that's what needs to change with VAR. Everybody is slating VAR, but the actual system itself, video assistant referee, which is what it is, right? That bit for me is fine. The system itself is fine. The way we use it, as I've said on a couple of occasions, the way we use it is wrong, because the referees do not go to the pitch side monitor, so you might as well not have them there. I know Mourinho said that the referee is actually the guy in the office, and the on-pitch referee now is just an assistant referee. Do you know what? He's half got a point, because they've got somebody in their ear re-refereeing the game, which isn't right at all. So you might as well, you either don't have a referee or linesman and then just have somebody in a office somewhere refereeing the game, or the change that is probably most easiest to implement, right, any VAR check, referee goes to the pitch side monitor. Then he can decide whether it's a penalty or not. Then he can decide whether it's a red card or not. Then he can decide whether it's offside or not. Then he can decide whether it's a goal or not, whether it's handball. Like, come on. Premier League, IFAB, Premier League, come on. That's all I'm asking. Just allow the referees to go to the pitch side monitor. So then the actual referee that's doing the VAR job on that match day will go look to whoever the referee is, possible handball, go to the pitch side monitor and check for the possible handball. All right, we've seen it work in the Champions League, Europa League, Serie A, MLS, but it works because the referees go to the pitch side monitor. The decision yesterday is, Lucas Moura, to quote Sir Alex, he could have been killed, right? But it's one of those where, right, referee, just go to the pitch side monitor, please, and just make your call from there, and then you can go, right. Well, then, because like I say, if the referee goes to the pitch side monitor, then he can go, well, actually, Lucas, all right, he stuck his arm out and the ball sort of hit him. Has he meant to do it? No. So he can, but because the referee, on-pitch referee's in that state of game mode, emotion, he has the emotion of the actual game with him, he can make those calls. But I think as well with that, at least then, from a fan's perspective, we've been in stadiums where you see VAR check and you don't know what they're checking. The referee's just standing there going like that and having somebody talking to him in his ear. Could be telling him what he's having for dinner tonight, for all we know. Do you know what I mean? But if they go to that pitch side monitor, you can go, oh, he's checking something. Then it will probably flash up on the screens, possible handball. Right, the referee's checking then the possible handball. Simple as that. Simple as that. And when fans go back into stadiums, when we're allowed and it's safe to do so, I think what would help is for fans to be shown the same pictures that the VAR have got, or at least shown sort of afterwards, so you can go, if it's offside, then you can go, oh, that's a bit tight, or no, that's spot on there, or and stuff like that. And with that handball, you can go, oh, you like that one yesterday. You go, that's a bit harsh. If he gives it against us, and then if he gives it for us, you can go, oh, I don't know, or he hasn't meant it. Just little things, little subtle changes, I think, from the Premier League with VAR will help it so much. And I don't think actually we'll have as many talking points on VAR. We won't be discussing it every bloody match day because it's giving people the ump every match day, because VAR was brought in to give us less talking points. It's giving us more because we're going, well, it's so inconsistent. And everything else, and the way, like I just say, the way we're using it's wrong, in my opinion.
Well, okay, so my view, I think it was absolute joke. I completely lost my head. I'm not going to lie to you. I full on lost my head because it's just a joke. It's just a joke now. It's not football. It's just simply not football. What more can Lucas Moura do? He's been fouled by 3 players, and from less than a yard away, the guy has absolutely pelted the ball. What is he meant to do? Quick reactions, edit it. It really angers me, like how that is not given. And as what you were saying, then we scored to it overrides a free kick. Well, but then Sheffield United have got a free kick for the handball. So that makes no sense to me. So technically, Sheffield United have got a free kick for Lucas Moura being fouled and the ball being smashed at him. It's a joke. And I don't care. That goal should be given no matter what. Simple as that. Obviously, that rule where if the ball hits your hand, in the lead up to a goal, it doesn't count, whatever. Well, it's not even really his hand, it's all the way up here. What can he do? And then plus, I'm just fuming about it. But then it happens too much with VAR. This season, it's too much. There should be no controversy. VAR, irons out all the mistake. Does it really? Because the amount of times we talk about VAR, there's more controversy because of it, because it should be perfect. It should be all ironed out, but it's not. And as I saw loads of posts yesterday, you can forgive a human mistake. If a referee makes the odd mistake, you can live with it. There's never this much uproar about a mistake from a referee, unless if it's continuous and it seems like he's being biased. But say if that referee would have made this mistake yesterday and the goal was given, there wouldn't be this uproar about it as much. Obviously, there would be a bit of an uproar, but nowhere near as much. And I'm sick of it. Full on sick with it. I know obviously you're saying, check the pitch monitors and everything. Yeah, I agree with that to some degree. However, it still all comes down to an opinion. It all still comes down to someone's opinion. But the only ones what I think VAR should be used for is off the ball incidents, what the referees cannot see, like a punch, an elbow or something like that, something what they physically cannot see. And for offsides, because everything else is just being re-refereed. It's all being slowed down. So then even the most minimal, say if it's a foul, the most minimal contact looks like it's a foul. But in reality, in game motion, it's not. And it's pathetic. It is ruining the game. I don't care what anyone else says. I'm getting sick of it. In some ways, I'm actually falling out of love with football just from watching it. I probably won't end up watching as many games. Obviously, I'll watch all the Tottenham ones, but just casual games, just because it slows down the game for starters, because they take 2-3 minutes to make the most obvious decisions as well, which is pathetic. Like I saw the other day, I think Everton v Leicester, there was a handball in the, was it by that Leicester player?
Indeed, I think.
Correct. Yeah. Literally, I think I switched it over not at half time to have a little look at see what happened in that game because I was watching the other one. And they were like, oh yeah, it took him 2-3 minutes to decide this was handball. They showed the replay. I went, well, I can tell you that. His hand's up here. It's not in a natural position. It's above the other player's head. That is a handball. What more can you say? His arm is in an unnatural position. He's almost like Superman. But yet it takes him 2 to 3 minutes to make a decision. I'm going back to the City game at home when it took 2-3 minutes and the ball didn't actually end up going out of place and Mike Dean actually had to stop the game because they'd made a decision. That is a joke. It's a joke. That took 2-3 minutes to make that decision as well. It happens too much. And I'm sick of it. I'm full on sick. As I said, it's making me fall out of love with the actual game. Because I think the odd human mistake actually adds to it. And it's not just Tottenham fans who are annoyed by it all, but it's other fans as well. It's the whole, it almost seems like all the Premier League are just fed up with it. Because it's not football. It's almost like you're playing a video game and then you've got like extra lives or something like that. It's pathetic and I'm fed up of watching it. Like, if I want them to scrap it, obviously they're not because they put too much money into it. Or they only use it, as I said, for off-ball incidents and offsides. Things what are hard to see at times, like the odd offside. Even the offside rule they need to sort out. There's been offsides for an arm offside, which you cannot score from. And I'm just sick of it. Because you just see the same mistakes from the officials. And even if the referee on the pitch has made, I think, maybe the right decision, oh yeah, I don't agree with that. I think that's a foul. Well, no, I think the referee has actually had bottle and given the right decision. But I think Jose put it perfectly. The referee on the pitch isn't a referee. He is the assistant to the referee. And the assistants are the assistants' assistants. It's just a joke. It is an absolute joke. And I'm sick of it. I think so many things need to be changed. That handball rule needs to be changed for starters. All the managers don't seem to back it. Even David Moyes said it when we played them, saying, "Oh yeah, it probably wasn't a handball, but that's in the law, so it shouldn't be given." But I don't care. That was not a handball for Lucas. He's literally been pelted. It's hit him upper arm, and there should be like a look, part of the law. Okay, if it hits him a certain place on the arm, then it's given. But I think it should be like the elbow or something, or if it's a deliberate arm out and it hits him here, then that's different. But his arm, I just don't get it. Don't get it anymore. I'm just sick of it. And there shouldn't be this uproar from a computer. They've got they've got everything they need to make the right decision, yet they still make the wrong decision. It's not that hard. Like, my dad doesn't know the most about football, to be fair. But even some of the decisions, he's like, why has that been given? Dad, I don't know anymore. I seriously don't know. And as you were saying about, obviously, when you're in the ground, the people who are watching at TV know what's going on more than the people in the ground. And people in the ground are paying big money to go and watch their teams play. But yet they don't have a clue what's going on. Like for that City one, probably they all knew that there was a VAR thing going on. And literally, we didn't know until we blew the whistle 2-3 minutes later. And we're like, what's all this for? And then they went back, and then because it's been that long, you're thinking, what was that actually for again? And they don't show the replay until the decision's given. But then they'll show the quickest replay ever because it's too controversial. It's like with the Son's red card against Chelsea. How quick was that replay in that stadium that day after they gave that decision? It was literally a 2-second replay. And then I think that's not quick enough. That's not long enough for the fans to, see why it's given or anything. And I'm just fed up with it. I'm fed up of watching the same things happen week in, week out. It's not even week in, week out. It's from every game. There's been wrong decisions too many times from a system which should be flawless. It's a computer, for crying out loud. They get to recheck things multiple times, but yet they're still messing it up. I don't know what to say. Yeah, if they're still sticking with it, they should use the pitch side monitors. But I think I'm just fed up with it. It's ruining football for me because, as I've said before in an earlier one as well, obviously when we went Leicester away and then we scored the second, which ended up getting disallowed, I obviously held back my celebrations because I thought, oh, is he offside, is he? And obviously he was in the end. But fans have that mindset, oh, I don't know whether to celebrate, it might not be given. That ruins the emotion. So there's not as much emotion. The players, say for example, last game of the season, your team can win the league. You score a last minute goal, and then they're like, oh, hold up, we're having to check for VAR, give us 3 minutes. Oh yeah, it is a goal. Imagine that the scenes what have just been taken away from you as a club. Because that you're not going to have the pure emotion. Yeah, you'll have a celebration, but it won't be as much as what it would have been. And I think that is something that you've got to look at. I think that is a perfect example. If your team could win the league or win a cup and it's a last minute and you score a last second winner and you're about to celebrate and you see the referee go to his ear, you're like, oh, yeah. And then, oh, yeah. It's a joke. It is a joke and I'm done with it. Absolutely done. And I'm not going to lie, I'm quite proud of myself for not swearing in that. Because yesterday, that's not even a joke. Yesterday, I was literally sounded like, I don't even know. I sounded like someone out of the In-Betweeners who was swearing every other word. Like, I couldn't handle it. Like,
well, anyway, Joe, it was nice to see that VAR was on furlough for the Norwood incident with Son as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're like, oh my God, don't even. Exactly. But it's a joke. But then it never gets looked at. And another thing what I don't get, obviously I've said before, if a player dies, it's never given as a booking. Something what they were really coming down on, and I thought, okay, no, they're really stopping that. Now players dive left, right, centre because they think, oh, any minimal touch, it gets slowed down. And they'll go, oh no, I can see why he's gone down. We don't need to book him. Oh, it's a penalty. Oh, it's a joke. It is an absolute joke. And also they can't give yellow cards either, which through VAR, which I think is a big decision. Because say if a player's on a yellow card, and say if a player lashes out a little bit or shoves a player off the ball, maybe not enough for a red card, but he still does something what he shouldn't be doing, which is yellow card worthy, they can't book him. Do you know what I mean? And I think that is a big thing what needs looking at as well. And so I'm just fed up with it. Really fed up with it. And I think it's a joke. But they're not going to scrap it because there's too much money gone into it. They're wanting to prove a point. And I know they're not, I know they're not going to scrap it. So I'm not trying to get my hopes up or anything. But they need to sort something out, and they need to sort it out quick because fans are losing love for the game. For the game of football, people are losing the love of it. Yeah, and I think that's fair to say, to be honest with you.
I'm proud of you for not swearing as well, by the way. Just want to throw that one out there.
Because I think literally yesterday during the game, I was sweating with anger. Like literally, if you would have had a bucket next to me, like that'd have been full. Absolutely done.
Have you got a swear jar at home? Have you got a swear jar? Swear jar. That might have got filled up yesterday.
I tell you what, I think I might need one for watching us play and for watching football in general, just for VAR. I tell you what, it could make a lot of money for charity. Might even make enough money to abandon VAR in itself. Might be able to buy it outright like that for something. Might look into that. But yeah, obviously as well, we normally talk about man of the matches, but I think we're going to scrap that because
man of the match. Oh,
we're obviously going to scrap that because it was such a pathetic match. I'll give it to the water boy.
Do you know what? I'll give it to the media guy, because I think the coverage that they did on the game wasn't bad. So I'll give it the media guy.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up for the review of this game. Obviously, quite a few heated topics in there. So please let us know in the comments your thoughts on the game. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot more interesting topics coming up if we've got to watch this load of rubbish for the rest of the season and, in the due course. And yeah, hopefully we've calmed down for the preview of the Everton game as well. But up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.